Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station with the only man in Orange County who knows everybody, Johnny Gutierrez. We call him the Rocket.
Hey, welcome everybody to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President John Gutierrez, and welcome to another great podcast show where we're going to feature somebody that is just an amazing, not only business owner, business leader, but also a philanthropist, just somebody with a big heart, has been giving back to the community. And we're going to learn about his story. Mr. Eric L. Goodman, who of course is the Chief Executive Officer of MVS Inc., and Chem-Pak.
Chem-Pak,
yes. Yes, Chem-Pak. And am I saying your last name right? Goodman?
Goodman,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Welcome, Eric, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I was telling Paul here, our producer, that I have all these notes because of your long history of everything you have done in the community.
Thank you.
Which we're going to get into.
We don't have time. We don't have time to go into all. The show will be over.
You know,
that's awesome.
As he was walking into the building, there's another event going on here today, and he's shaking hands with like everybody. And I joke with them and I said, all these people are here for you, for your podcast show today.
They were greeting me in the parking lot. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you know who else he knows is Charles Antis, who's been on the show here.
That's right.
Of Antis Roofing.
Absolutely.
He's another big philanthropist.
That's right. That's right. And so, you know, as we get into the business that he's, of course, doing just much success in today, we want to get to learn, of course, Eric, about your story and who you are, and just, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and we'll go through the journey of how I mean, obviously you've become an amazing philanthropist that all these people in the community and your business are very successful. But tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. So I'm not originally from Orange County. I'm originally from the Inland Empire. Was born and raised in San Bernardino. That's my hometown.
Oh, okay.
My wife and I are both from San Bernardino. Then we relocated down to Orange County in 2017. Once the kids were grown and gone, we got married very young, 18. Had our first child at 18.
Oh, wow.
So I'm 49 with a 31-year-old daughter and a 25-year-old son. So we were empty nesters at 42, which was kind of nice.
Interesting.
So I couldn't afford to move to Orange County until the kids were moved out. So once the kids moved out, then we moved down here. But I do have an interesting background story. So have you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump before?
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember in the movie Forrest Gump, at the beginning, the doctor was with Forrest and his mom, and he was putting leg braces on him.
Yes.
And if you remember, the doctor said to his mom, Sally Fields, he said, we're going to put him in leg braces because his spine is crooked. And then the movie goes on to tell about his amazing life journey and all these incredible things he did, even though he was disabled. They never actually said what condition he had, but they did say in the movie that his spine was crooked. Well, when I was born with a crooked spine, a very rare condition called Schumann's kyphosis. So I wore those exact same leg braces that Forrest Gump did from the age 3 to 15.
Wow.
I was in back braces to try to straighten my back. Most people have never heard of Schumann's kyphosis, but they've heard of scoliosis. So I'm sure you've heard of that before.
Yes.
It's the exact same family. It's just scoliosis is a 45-degree curvature of the spine. Schumann's kyphosis is a 90. So basically you're hunched back at your worst condition. Wow. So long story short, when I was 15 and a half years old, I was so hunched back over that the pressure from that on my internal organs was causing damage, and my left lung was collapsing from my rib cage pushing on it. So I was rushed into Loma Linda Children's Hospital, there where I lived in the Inland Empire, and I underwent a 12-hour surgery where they fused my entire spine from top to bottom, basically took portions of my ribs, cut up that rib bone, and then on your back where you have all the little triangles in your vertebrae, they fused every single one of those together to make one solid spine in my back.
Wow.
I was in a full body cast from the neck down for 9 months. I couldn't move anything but my head because the vertebrae bone, the backbone, is the largest bone in your body, and it takes a long time to heal. So until it was fully healed, I had to be in a back brace. So today I have 2 metal rods in my back. I have a fused spine. I have plastic rib inserts. So my childhood starting at 15 and a half years old was, I went in for surgery in 9th grade. I came back out in 10th grade, so I missed a whole year of school, and then was homeschooled, and then 9 months in a body cast. So I had quite an amazing start.
Wow. What a journey at a young age.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It's a pretty wild story.
Oh my God.
It's a pretty wild story.
So you were bent over
Yeah,
completely.
basically, like the hunchback of Notre Dame, if you thought about what that would look like. Yeah.
What was the therapy, why, what was that like? Physical therapy
Yeah,
afterwards?
and the problem is when they fuse your spine, it stunts your growth. So they don't really want to fuse your spine until you're fully grown. So they don't normally do that in children. So for me, I knew what my condition was. I knew I was born with this extremely rare condition. And I knew that someday my spine was going to be fused, but they were hoping I would be like in my 20s, so I'd be fully grown. I think I was 15 and a half. I was 5'7" when I went on the operating table. I was 5'9" and a half when I came off the operating table. So I grew like 3.5 inches on the operating table.
Wow.
Now I'm only 5'9" today, but I have a 12 and a half shoe because my height couldn't continue to grow, but my feet could continue to grow. My dad's 6'3", my son's 6'3", my sister's 6'1", so very tall in the family. I am not, but I did. I had physical therapy to learn how to walk again. Once the cast was removed, it was about a year that I had to learn to do everything because your body becomes very weak when you're if you've had a cast on your arm or your leg before.
Yes.
Imagine it from your neck down.
Wow.
The only thing I wasn't casted was my hip.
Can I ask you a really hard question? Because I hope this doesn't offend you, but what were kids like to you? And those, because kids are
Yeah, it was
very
tough.
cruel. And
Yeah, it was
tough.
very tough. Yeah. Well, the leg braces, and it was in the 70s, so the leg braces I had looked very similar to what Forrest Gump had. I mean, that was supposed to be set in the 50s, so they weren't
Yeah.
as bad, but they were still very similar.
Yeah.
So grew up with leg braces on, obviously got picked on, and then I had a removable body brace that I wore for years. So obviously I had that on, so the kids would pick on me because of that. I never did PE in school, never once, never was excluded from it my whole life. So that was interesting because the kids would always pick on me that I was, disabled and different. And then when I had the surgery, I had a lot of people that thought it was odd, the body cast I was in. And so I remember getting picked on a lot for that too. It was tough.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really tough.
And so this all ended, or got better by the time you were in college or something?
No, so I guess I went back to school 16 and a half, 17. So I went back my junior year, and then I finished out high school. I actually graduated a year early, graduated my junior year, did not go to my senior year, and then went on to college. And then that's a whole nother story, but ended up dropping out to go to work for my dad's company, which we're going to share about
How
today.
did it motivate you? It must have. Things like that can either just set you back forever or get you
Yes.
started. Like nothing's going to stop me.
Yes, nothing's going to. So I'm writing a book that's going to be published this summer, and my book is called What's Your Mindset? And it's my entire life story about how I believe I got my mind in the right place at a very early age and knew exactly what you just said. Either I was going to use that to say, oh, poor me, why me, this happened to
Yeah,
me, and my
right.
life was going to be very different. Or I was going to use it to motivate me to say, nobody can ever tell me I can't accomplish something, no matter what condition I'm in. Because if you looked at me today, you wouldn't know
Never.
how disabled I am.
Never.
But
no,
by
not a hint that there's any of the stuff you're talking
Yeah,
about.
By
No,
society
it's-
standards, I'm extremely disabled. But you don't see it, so I don't get treated like I'm disabled. But I remember what I got treated like when you could see that I was disabled. And it was a setback. So then I took my mindset and I thought very young, I had to mature at a very young age. I said, I'm going to take what happened to me and I'm going to motivate that to make my life something. And then we'll share about my businesses, but my entire life's work have been taking care of developmentally disabled adults, children, and seniors because of what happened to me.
Of course. That's your passion, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely. Drives me every day.
And so what do you do to take care of them? How do you do that?
So my one company, MVS Inc., we service about 500 homes for developmentally disabled adults
Wow.
and children.
Wow.
We've been in business for 38 years. We're the only company in the state of California licensed with Medi-Cal and Medicare to do what we do. We provide them with food, medical supplies, personal supplies, cleaning supplies. A bunch of my clients, about 3,500 patients on service, are fed intravenously. So I have them on feeding pumps. I feed them with a tube feeding. Dietary staff on board to do very special diets, very special supplies, things you can't buy in retail settings and stores, things that hospitals would get. So my entire life's work, my business has been caring for people with disabilities, adults and children. And then the Ronald McDonald House. It was across the street from where I was at when I was at Loma Linda Children's Hospital. Luckily, we didn't have to stay there because my parents lived close by. But I got involved about 2 years after I got out of the hospital with the Ronald McDonald House, and I'm celebrating my 23rd year on their board of directors.
That's awesome.
So
And remind everybody what that does. It's a fantastic charity.
It
We've
is
had the founder in
fantastic.
here and other people in.
Fred Hill, he's
Yeah.
an amazing man.
And just tell quickly that story.
It's
I don't think
ama-
people know that these houses
It's
exist.
yeah, it's amazing. If you haven't seen or been to a Ronald McDonald house, please contact me. I'll take you to the house and show you. So what we do is we provide a home away from home from families when their child are critically ill in the hospital. Could be from any sort of illness, but mostly cancer patients. So what happens is a family member gets transported to a children's hospital, which Loma Linda Children's Hospital, like Chalk here, is very famous, world renowned. So people come in from all over the world, different countries. They get here and they have nothing, so they have no place to stay. They have no car
For a long period
for
of time.
a year. Yeah, they could be in our house for a year. So we house them. We give them transportation. We give them food. We give them support
For free.
For free, 100% for free. Yeah, we don't
Amazing.
turn the family away. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's
Ronald
a
McDonald's House does a lot of amazing work.
really good
And
organization.
thank you for serving on that board.
Thank you.
Because that says a lot about obviously what you want to do for them and how you want to support them. Anybody that sits on a board is a volunteer.
That's correct.
So that's a lot of time of your time, being that you already have a lot on your plate.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, at one point I was president of our organization for 3 years, and 22 years on the board. And I told my wife, I said, it's basically a second job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you do your full-time day job, and then you do your night job of doing all the stuff you have to do for the nonprofit, and then you volunteer on nights and weekends. And yeah, it can be very time-consuming. But I was so fortunate that I survived my surgery, that I'm here to talk about it today, and that I know what those families go through because I lived that. So for me, I can really have empathy with them, and I think they can relate to that. And so obviously it's just
What
amazing.
strikes me is that both of you, in your day jobs, work with populations of people that live in the shadows for most of us.
That's correct.
A world that most of us never see. Developmentally disabled adults and children, or in John's case, hospice, the people who are actively dying. But talk about that. That can be kind of a dark world. And I applaud both of you for working with those subgroups of people. It's got to be rewarding, but it's also got to be kind of heartbreaking.
Yes, it can be. Yeah, and in our homes that we service on this business, and I will talk about my other business too, my dad's been on this business, I learned really early on I couldn't be a caregiver. It's not in me. Like, it takes a certain person to be a caregiver and love people like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I wanted to help people that were developmentally disabled, either physically or mentally. And some of our clients that are in the homes we service, I mean, they're bedridden. They know, and some of our pediatric homes we have, I mean, they're in cribs, and that'll be the rest of their life. So it's really difficult to go in and see them in a condition. But knowing that my company offers a service that cares for them and it helps them, the gratitude and joy that I get out of that, knowing that I'm a part of it, but I don't think I'm the person to actually provide them their care. And in your situation, obviously, you guys are providing them their care, and that's a really special thing.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I can never probably do the things that our staff does, our nurses, our caregivers.
It takes a very special person.
In hospice, as you may know, because you work with some
Absolutely, we
hospices
do.
yourself. You mentioned that earlier. It's not easy when the patient or the person, of course, the resident, passes away.
That's right.
And you have to do what's called a death visit.
Yeah.
And of course, we do our best to help the families be at peace.
Because you both know the outcome pretty much going in. And certainly in hospice, these people are actively dying. In developmentally severely disabled people,
Yeah,
that
it's
little kids
short
going to be in a
lifespan,
crib
right.
for
Yeah.
their life, or on a breathing tube, or
That's
in
correct.
a home like this, or whatever. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's definitely another.
Gives you purpose.
Yeah.
Definitely gives you purpose. I get up every single day, every
Yeah.
single morning.
Well,
live my life
it
sleep.
goes to your book.
That's right.
The mindset.
That's right.
right?
The mindset.
I think people don't realize. I know when I go meet with the family to talk about hospice and the services, right? You have to be in a different mindset.
Absolutely.
I've talked about when we sit and talk with our team about before you walk into the room, your personality cannot be too high, but it cannot be too low either.
That's right.
You don't want to go in like feeling like, oh man, this is not good, right? You want to bring strength to the people, right? To the
Right.
family. You want to say, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to provide you a great service. And obviously we don't have control of what's happening in this situation, whether it's somebody with a disability or whether somebody who unfortunately has stage 4 cancer, right?
Right.
We can't change the fact, but what can we do as a team to hopefully provide the best quality of life,
Right.
right?
Help that individual.
And
What
help
can
that
we
individual.
learn? I'm sorry to keep butting in, but I feel embarrassed because today I woke up.
Compassion.
I thought,
That's what you can learn from what we do.
I
right,
thought I'm
Eric?
having a tough day today. I got cut off in the freeway. Something else didn't
That's
go
right.
right this morning. I'm having a really bad day today here. And I
Well,
listen to you guys.
there-
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think Eric would agree that there's people that are having it
That's right.
not so good, right?
That's right. And that's why getting your mindset in the right place. I know for me, that's just been an entire life's work is, if I got up this morning and I thought today was going to be a bad day and I didn't want to be here doing this with you and sharing with the community what we do and how we help people, and I looked at everything negative today, the whole entire day would be negative.
Yeah.
It would just be negative. My mindset would be in the wrong place and it would just be an awful day. And I would go home tonight. My wife would say, "How was your day?" And I say, "It sucked. It was horrible." But I know that because that was my mind. I made up my mind
And then
to do
you'd
that.
kick your dog on
Yes,
the way in. Yeah,
exactly.
right.
But I get up every day. I thank God that I'm alive, that I'm here. I thank God that He's letting me help people in the community. And I pray and I say, how can I serve today? And then I go for my day. And I stay positive the entire day, even though bad things are going to happen. Like today, I had a business thing this morning that sucked, but you know what? I'm not letting it bother me because I can't let my mindset get into that place. So I'm going to stay positive the whole day. I'm so excited to be here with you two. I'm so excited to share with the community what we do. And the entire day is going to be amazing. And tonight when I go home and my wife says, "How was your day?" I'm going to tell them all about you guys. I'm going to tell them about who I think we touch. I'm going to tell them about who we served. And I'm going to say, my day was amazing. But that was my choice to make my day amazing.
Yes.
And too many people let their mind control their life, and that's when they go down negative space.
A great philosopher once said, "You can't change what happens to you, but you can change
Absolutely.
how you react to it,
That's
how
right.
you view it."
Yeah, and with that, I want to go into a little bit about also photography. That's your passion, right? From what I hear, also,
Yeah, that's
and you've been featured in some galleries, right?
I have, yeah.
And it's so nice to. I mean, I read a lot of this that, whatever you raise from there goes back to your philanthropy, your giving in the community, right?
That's right.
What do you take pictures of?
So, I'm a landscape photographer, mostly sunsets, mostly Newport Beach because that's where I live. So, in that general area. But just before the pandemic hit in 2018, it was actually Christmas of 2018. Long story short, I told my wife, I said, I'm a very high paced individual, obviously, serial entrepreneur, type A personality, always doing something. There's no time to relax. I really don't have a relaxing hobby. For me, it's just always thinking about the next thing, how I'm going to help somebody. I said, I need to find something that I can do to relax. So I went to
It
Costco.
forces you to slow down.
That's right.
Yeah.
I went to Costco. I bought a camera at Christmas, and I started going out and taking some photos. And my daughter says, "Wow, your photos are really good." She's like, "I'm going to start an Instagram page, and you can share your photos because a lot of the photographers will post like where they're going to be, and you guys can meet up." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." So I posted some photos, and I got contacted by a gallery, and they said, "We want to carry your work."
What?
And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We want to sell your art." I said, "My art? What are you talking about?" So I called my daughter. She's a graphic design major, graduated from Biola. I said, "I need your help." So long story short, 3 galleries have featured my work. And then a couple years after I started getting into photography, it was a great outlet. It was a great hobby. Let me go. I got a call from Mariners Church. I got a message on Instagram from Mariners Church. And the person at Mariners Church said, "We'd like for you to come do photos of the church services." And I messaged her back and I said, "Have you looked at my page? I'm a landscape photographer. I take landscapes. You don't see a single person on my page."
That's right.
She says, "Well, I was praying," and I got called, and she said, "We want you to come serve at the church." Well, I was already a member of their church. It's a very big church. They didn't know that. So I went and showed up, and I was very nervous because I'd never done photography like that before. I said, "Okay, can you somebody show me how to take indoor photos of people?" So their lead photographer showed me. Well, long story short, I served for 3.5 years as the lead photographer at Mariners Church and did all of the indoor photography for the church, and I loved it. It was a great way to serve, but it just shows that you never know how he's going to use you in ways to do certain things. And so that hobby turned out to be a blessing. In the
Is
long
there
run.
anything you can't do?
I don't know.
It seems like you
I don't
just
know. That,
set your mind, and I've got a curved spine. I'm just going to get
Yeah.
straightened up. I'm going to overcome, start a business in this field. I'm going to pick up a camera. And, wow.
I think it's the type A, entrepreneurial mindset. If somebody had told me I couldn't have done photography, I would have proved them wrong. So that's
Yeah.
why I went out and I went back to school. I got my degree at Cornell University in photography. So, I mastered the photography field because once I had my mindset made up that I was going to do it, there was nothing was going to stop me.
Why don't you share with us a little bit about the other
Yeah,
business,
my
right?
dad. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so my dad.
As if you need another business.
I know.
right.
That's what my wife and father said. So my dad started and founded Chem-Pak, the other company, 38 years ago. It was his business for 38 years. It's a janitorial supply company. We do manufacture chemicals and paper goods, mostly in the cleaning industry. So during COVID, obviously, our business doing medical supplies and food supplies, COVID was crazy for us.
I bet.
2 of the 3 biggest industries that were hit. It was
Yeah.
toilet paper,
Yeah.
medical supplies, and food.
I remember it was crazy. Lysol. I was buying Lysol
Yes.
like in street
And
corners
people were
for people who were like, I got 10 cases. You want to buy 3?
Yes, and people were standing around the
And
block.
we needed it for like,
Yeah, that's right.
we're in healthcare.
That's right.
So we needed this Lysol and gloves and things like that
So-
were hard. Yeah.
So I was in the two of the 3 hardest hit industries in the industry, and then my dad was in the other one. So we basically, between the family, we were in all 3: janitorial supplies, toilet paper, medical supplies, and food. That was what we were servicing.
Wow.
So COVID was, crazy. So working at crazy hours. So during COVID, he decided, I don't want to work this hard. I'm tired. I've been working for a long time, and now my business is thriving. So he listed the company for sale, and he decided he was going to sell the business. And one day, I don't know what came over me. I got really emotional. I started crying, and I told my wife, I said, my dad's legacy is going to end. This is it. His legacy's over. I don't know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to buy his business. Will they keep it open? Will they shut it down? Will they merge it? What will they do? I don't know. We'll have no control over it.
Yeah.
So I went to my parents and I told my dad, I said, I want to buy your company. And he said, well, why would you buy my company? So I explained to him why. Of course, I got really emotional at lunch, and he said, well, you don't have time to do that. And I said, I really don't, but I hate to see it end with you. The problem was he needed to sell his business to retire. He couldn't just give
course.
us kids the business because he
course.
needed that income.
Of course.
So I paid him market value for his business. I bought it. So now
awesome.
my father works for me.
Father works for
My
you.
wife works for me.
I want to see
My
that
son
one.
works for me. My daughter works for me. My son-in-law works for me. So now it's an entire, between the 2 companies, it's a family businesses, both of them. I'm very lucky that some of my family members run Chem-Pak, and then and some non-family members run Mountain View. So I don't run the day-to-day at the operations anymore. I'm very blessed that I have an amazing team of people who do. But what I do is I go out into the community. I share what the companies do. I find out where there's need, and then I try to connect that need to the business to say, okay, my life's mission is to help people in need, whether it's with medical supplies, cleaning supplies, food supplies, especially disabled or any seniors, anybody that's in help. So my role now is just finding where people need us, connecting us, and then bringing us in to help them.
So
That's
talk about your philanthropy, because you said something interesting, the quote from Charles, that's why I brought it up earlier. You guys are big buddies here.
That's right.
He always says it's more than just writing a check.
That's right.
Philanthropy.
Yep, you do know Charles well then. Yeah, so Charles is my mentor. It's definitely, he's changed my life. My life would not be what it is today without Charles. We talk every single day. If you're a CEO of a company
Hopefully he
or
doesn't hug you as much as he does long.
He does.
He wants to hug you
No,
forever.
Charles, if you're listening to this, I get good long hugs. Charles like. Yet, if you're which you are of your business, and if you're a CEO or an owner operator of a company, you know how lonely it is at the top. There's a lot on your shoulders when you got, hundreds of employees and thousands of customers depending on
Can't
you.
ever show doubt.
Yeah,
Never
so
show, I don't know what happens next in COVID here. Yeah.
you just have to know everything. Well, you don't. So when Charles and I became friends, we lean on each other's shoulders to help ourselves because, it's lonely he can't share what he's going through with his team, and I can't share what I'm going through with my team because you're
They'd
not
be
supposed
scared.
to show weakness, right? So Charles has an amazing platform for philanthropy. He calls it the fearless giving model, and it's if you do good in the community and you help others and you give back, it'll raise your company's morale and just everything. The culture is amazing. Everybody will rally behind you, and then they'll support you to do more good. So I adopted his philosophy. I started doing that at our companies. Of course, Mountain View Services, MVS, already had a lot of purpose because we care for developmentally disabled adults and children. But sometimes my team doesn't see what we do because they're back at the distribution centers or the offices. They're not out, like your team is out actually in the home with us.
Yes.
So they see it. So I told Charles, I'm like, I can figure out a way to connect the two, have the team see what we do on a daily basis. So I go out, volunteer with nonprofits, make connections in the community with nonprofits. A lot of them use our services. They buy medical or food supplies, janitorial supplies from us. And then I bring the team along to support those nonprofits, and that's how they see the work we do in the community. And I'll tell you, since I started doing that, our company culture is it's incredible. It's just incredible. I can't even tell you what it's done to change my
Does
business
that
model.
change the bottom line too?
Oh,
I mean, you
oh,
don't
for
do
sure.
it for that, but does
For sure.
growth happen?
No question. I guarantee you, I've got senior managers that I know, a few of them, they get job offers on a regular basis to come run other companies, and they tell me all the time, I don't pay them the most, but the reason they stay is because of what we do in the community.
Wow.
I mean, they literally will tell me, Eric, I got this job offer. I'm not going to take it because I love what we do. I love what you do in the community. So I know it's changed.
There's
our
some
culture.
lessons for your youth chamber, John. I was talking about the youth chamber that listens. How do you overcome adversity?
right.
How do you become how do you overcome obstacles?
Well, I think the big word that we commonly use right now is just resilience, right? If you
Yeah.
look at your life, you've been very resilient.
Yes.
Right.
True.
At a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think
Had
about,
to.
well, you had no choice.
Had no choice.
Right. And so, speaking of, our youth chamber, like Paul's saying here, that's one of the things we often talk about, right? Like, how do you build that resilience? Where do you, like you said earlier, the mindset, right? And so sometimes when you're thrown in the pool and it's sink or swim, right?
That's right.
Right, you gotta do what you can with it, and you have,
And
obviously.
you have to have a passion for what you do. So I'm on 7 nonprofit boards right now that I volunteer, plus my company foundation that does that. And I tell anybody when they talk to me or ask them, I've been on Ron McDonald's board, like I said, 23 years, and so almost 30 years in nonprofit work. As I tell them, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, because if you're not, that will show through, and people will know that you don't care. And so same thing happens with your businesses. You work like yours, the hospice. You're passionate about caring for people. Here we're passionate about radio and sharing our stories and telling people's life.
Yep.
I'm passionate about making sure people get the products and services they need to live a good life. So for me, it's easy. Every day I'm loving what I'm doing. But if you're not passionate about what you do, that's when you can tell that it's not working.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Big Bear is a place where you.
We have a retail store in Big
Right?
Bear. Yeah, so that's one
Yes.
of our locations. So we have a retail store in Big Bear, San Bernardino, distribution center.
Because
San
everybody
Bernardino,
loves
Redlands,
Big Bear.
Yeah, so
Come
we have
on,
a
how do
store
we
up there.
not? Big Bear. And I was reading that, and I was like, "This is so cool." I mean, even though you live in Newport, Big Bear is one of your.
We have a location in
right?
Big Bear, yeah.
Yeah.
in San
Do you
Bernardino,
often
Redlands.
go out
I don't go
there?
up as
No?
much as I did, but yeah, we do have a team that's up there.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We got to go visit the store, Paul.
Yeah, I
When
love
we're
Big
up there,
Bear.
in
Been
the
there a
snow,
while.
right? Us city slickers.
And I do do a lot of traveling though, because at Mountain View Services we do cover 7 counties in Southern California. So we're in from Santa Barbara down to the Mexican border and then up to the high desert. So we cover a really wide service area. So I'm on the road a lot, but that business is on the Chem-Pak side. Strategically, it's placed in the Inland Empire because that's our main service area for janitorial supplies, and the service is the Inland Empire in Orange County.
What would you say to somebody who's successful and wants to give back and do some sort of philanthropy? I can't tell you the number. This will shock you, but the number of big CEOs that come in here and say, I'm so driven. All I've ever done is this business. I eat it, I breathe it, and now I want to step back and do something else. I don't know what else to do but this business. That's all I know how to do. I don't know how to find a charity or a cause or give back or find time to do something.
Yeah, that's true. I know I get asked that a lot too. Well, obviously, like I said, passion. So I think if it goes along with your personal story, finding a mission, something that you're doing. I was speaking at 10C earlier this week doing a storyteller's class to
Yes,
nonprofit leaders.
They do some great storyteller classes.
So I was facilitating one of those, and we were going around trying to build out everybody's story and connect it to their mission. So I said, I know we're here for your nonprofits, but I want to know why you're serving your nonprofit, so I can connect your story to the mission, so people understand why you do what you do. And there was one gentleman there, and he works for a place where they fix bikes and donate bikes to kids. He said, I really don't have any tie to the mission. I just retired and wanted to give back. I'm like, well, you could have done anything. For some reason, you did bikes. There's got to be a story. And he said, you know what? Actually, when I was a kid, my dad was a huge bike collector. I was raised with bikes. I took care of bikes. I always fixed bikes. I'm like, so see, there's that connection. He never really, kind of like I didn't, tie the two together. He's like, I guess, in my mind, I probably did do this because I have a love for bikes. And now he's doing that as his give back.
And remembering his dad. Probably.
And remembering his dad, honoring his growing up. So I think if you find something you're passionate about or you love, then use that to find the mission that you want to support. But you have to have purpose for that cause. Otherwise, if you just show up at your local food bank and say, I want to give back, and you stand there and you do it, you're not going to have the same effect if you say, well, when I was a kid growing up, we had food insecurities and I didn't have food on the table. Now I do, and I know why I do, and I'm going to help people do that. Your mission and your purpose is going to be so much different.
It's interesting you say that, because this morning on social media, I saw that the creator, founder of Minecraft.
Okay.
Had sold his shares for, I don't know, like 1.2 billion or something like that, right? And he goes out and he buys this property where he outbids famous singer and husband, rapper. Wow, I just blanked out. But anyhow,
Somebody with means.
yeah, Beyonce and
okay.
her husband. He bids them out on this huge mansion, right? And just begins to just party and live his life, right? But finds that he no longer has any purpose.
That's right.
And because he's no longer creating video games and he's no longer around the people that he was always. And I guess he ended up going into like a depression.
Wow.
You know, and it just kind of told his story. The whole point of the post was, you know, you got to have purpose in life.
That's right.
You could be very wealthy, right?
That's right.
Like at this point he was, right? But if you don't have purpose,
It's for nothing.
it's
What's
for
it
nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, to kind of close out the show, you're somebody that at a young age, obviously you went through a lot of tough times,
Figured
but
out the purpose
you,
early.
you figured that out.
Yeah.
You figured out that
And
the
I think
purpose
that-
was this, right?
And I think I have existingly passed the company. So I mean, obviously, Chem-Pak being third generation now with my kids, Mountain View being first generation, but having been in family businesses my entire life, and then my kids now involved with me. Our company foundation is going to be my legacy. What I want to do is use that foundation to continue to help people in need and help support charities all over the area. So I see my purpose for me is never retirement. I'm just going to continue to do what I love and take it to the end. But those businesses are what fuels that foundation. And as we talked about earlier, I mean, a lot of businesses can use their resources, their people, their time, their trucks, their buildings, or like in hospice care, donating, nursing. You can use any business you have to help others. I think even once you exit or retire from your business, you can still use all of that knowledge and experience and everything you have from all those businesses and use that to give back to a nonprofit. And it gives us all a reason to serve.
Well, I want to thank Alice too, because I know she was somebody that kept telling me about you
Thank
and
you.
who you were and just kept speaking very highly of you. And I know you already had been talking to Mitch.
Yes.
And so, we want to thank you for obviously, all you do in the community, but for also joining our chamber and doing this podcast, because this is going to be great also for many of our listeners,
Awesome.
our entrepreneurs,
Really awesome.
people that are going through, tough times right now, challenges, obviously your story is very inspirational, and we wish you nothing but the best in
you
your
very
in your book.
Thank you.
And maybe
It'll be out this summer. Maybe I'll come back when the book is
Yeah.
out. and
no,
released.
I think he's gonna come back when he's doing a Netflix, like movie or something.
So the movie of his
Well,
life
so I
there, yeah.
joke and say the story of Forrest Gump is my life story. I just didn't know they were going to make a movie about it. Of course they did it, but I love to share my Forrest Gump story. But it's amazing.
But I think it's a good analogy.
Well, it's an analogy. And
Yeah.
when I went back and watched the movie, I've been to the park where they filmed the
Yeah.
movie, in set on that park bench. And so thinking about all the amazing thing he did in his life and about how he changed, and of course in the movie, he changed history, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
you remember the whole thing, the medal,
Exactly.
and just everything.
Yeah.
I haven't been that prolific, but it just shows that you one person, if you just get your mindset in the right place, you can don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. You can do anything you want in this world. You just have to get your mind in the right spot.
Well, Paul, we're out of
Wow.
time, and with
I'm going to
that,
go get a
folks,
box of chocolates right
Yes.
now. 'Cause that's what
you
life
know,
is, a box of chocolates.
We want to thank again Mr. Eric Goodman for being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Come back when the book is
All right, I
ready,
will.
and let's help you promote it, launch
you.
it, and share about some great stories. I'm
Thank you.
sure you're
Love
going to have in it, and continue, all success, along with, of course, all the philanthropy that you
Thank
do. And folks, if you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments. Let us know if you want to connect with, of course, his business or himself. And again, we appreciate everybody tuning in every week. You can follow us, of course, at OCHCC, which of course is our Facebook, our Instagram, and our website at ochcc.com. Any last words, Eric? People can follow you guys
LinkedIn,
also, right?
yeah, follow me on LinkedIn, please. Eric L. Goodman. Follow me on LinkedIn. I post and share every single day. I never post about what our businesses do. I just post about how we give back and help in the community. And if somebody wants to get involved with a nonprofit or find their purpose in life, contact me, and I would love to help you find out
Wow,
where
there
you
you
can
go.
do to help
There's an
somebody.
offer for
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, I won't turn down a coffee or a lunch meeting with anyone.
There
He
you
said
go.
it
You heard
himself.
it.
Here we go. All right, Mr. Paul Roberts, take it away. Let's go.
Thank you.
Wow, I'm still trying to process all of that one here. What a story. Share it. Learn from it. Take him up in his offer here. One more reason to tune in each and every time. To meet our community. There's amazing people in it. Hope you'll join us each and every time. right here on Orange County's only community radio station, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Field Applied Innovation Center.